Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Knife Escapism time during the great toilet paper run of 2020. Hope you're feeling more like this and not so much like that. But whatever the case, thank you for tuning in, and I hope this knife review has given you a nice little break from some of the stresses and some of the things that are bothering you and me in our country and in our world right now. We have the Kershaw Tumbler up for review right now, a Dmitry Sinkovich design, D2 steel, which is awesome, and just a really cool design on it. So Dmitry Sinkovich has designed many, many knives. I'm not going to go through all the knives he's designed, but I happen to have one other one by him, just one. I should have a lot more. This is the Atmos, also from Kershaw. And this is a much cheaper steel. This is 8CR13 MOV. It's let's see, hollow ground, whereas the Tumbler is flat ground. And it's just a lighter weight knife. I don't have the exact, you know what, I'll just measure it real quick. The weight on it is, it's very lightweight, 8CR13 MOV, 1.9 ounces, and I think that's one of the things I said about it when I was reviewing it, is that it's extremely lightweight. So much so that I don't really have that much confidence in it, but I like the way it looks and it feels good to carry. And it's got this super deep pocket clip. You can see that wraps over and the screws are right there, and you have to unscrew them by sticking your screwdriver through that hole right there. Then it's got carbon fiber inlaid on top of G10, which is nicely sculpted. Actually, there's a slightly better sculpting on this one than there is on the Tumbler. We'll get to that in just a second. But a cool look, just a very nice design. And if you lay the two next to each other, you can see that they're definitely siblings. There's some relation there. You're like, okay, I can see how they came from the same guy. It's just got some of the angles are in the same place, you know, the way this comes down like that, kind of the same thing over here. A lot of similarities, very, very unique from each other, that's for sure, but they feel related, and I love seeing that. So the Tumbler, great name by the way, reminds me of the Batman movies.
I gotta get me one of those.
This one is sub-frame lock, which I think you can see down in there, is sort of attached, and there's the screws actually. The screws that attach this sub-frame lock to the G10 frame, basically. So it's handle/frame going on, which makes it a nice lightweight knife, but fairly sturdy and tough as well. And Kershaw, to my knowledge, has never had like big problems with their subframe design. So I'm happy with it. And if we can see just, maybe we can get down in there, but I think you can see how that subframe lock actually sort of not overlaps, but underlaps, but it kind of like goes underneath the G10 there. So when you push it up like this, it can't go past there, so it treats it, it kind of acts as an over travel stop, sort of just built into the lock bar. Very cool design, very smart, very efficient, I would say. Great looking pivot on it, you know, a little bit decorative, but really good looking, sort of a gear approach, or actually I would say that sort of reflects the ball bearing pivot in there, the KVT ball bearing pivot that Kershaw uses in this particular knife, which is what makes it so smooth to deploy and also so very solid, front to back, side to side, very solid. Anytime I can get a hold of ball bearing pivots on my blades, I'm always a fan. I'm always a fan of those. So yeah, this sort of is reflective of that. It's almost like giving you a little clue that, hey, we've got ball bearings down in here, buy me, buy me. And you should. This is a good knife. This is a good knife. D2 steel, I already mentioned that, I think, but it came pretty nice and sharp out of the package, sharpened it a little further, and now it's popping hairs off my arm. It's great, great edge. And I love the grind on it too. Really high, flat grind, comes way up there. A little swedge here, doesn't affect sort of it doesn't create like a shark fin anything. It's just this, well, it's almost got a little dip to it there actually. Not a trailing point sort of thing, but almost a little bit of a dip in the back, in the spine, and then a slight drop to it. But then just this big sweep of a belly, just this continuous belly on it. Really cool, really love that. And I will point out, that's one of the things that makes it so that you have a 3.25 inch blade from here out to there, but an actual cutting edge of 3.5 inches. So your cutting edge is longer than the actual blade is if you take this portion of the handle into consideration. That's awesome. That's very cool. Look at all that cutting edge you got. That's great, man. Flipper. It is a flipper action. There's no studs, no nothing else, so it's just flipper. Flipper's nice and high up here, so it's not like getting in the way of stuff. And the fact that, you've got this big curve on the back of the handle, it kind of like hides the flipper when you're grabbing it or reaching into your pocket for it. It's not like that flipper's jabbing into you. And also, it's just nicely smoothed and stuff and finished over very well. We've got a little bit of jimping over there, just enough. So you got just enough flipper, and then the action on it, super smooth. Really well balanced. Really well balanced. So you hold it right about there, and it doesn't want to fall. It just fits in your finger perfectly and stays right there. So perfect balance to it, in my opinion. In some cases, I kind of like a knife actually that's slightly heavier in the handle. It really makes it so that the blade feels incredibly light. I don't need to go as far as the brand new Copper Leak, which, let me take the safety off, which is just really heavy and hefty in the hand. And then you've got this ultra lightweight blade out there. Super cool. Showed that in a previous video. This is a great knife. Love the Leak. I guess we'll just compare them side by side. While we got them out, the Leak is going to be a bit smaller blade-wise, you can see there, and handle-wise as well. But we've got a handful of other blades to compare the Tumbler against in just a second, but just wanted to show you that real quick. So back to this, some of the construction. Let's see, I think we said everything we wanted to say about the blade. We've got a cool kind of two-tone here. One last thing to say, where we've got kind of a clean grind up there, and then this really nice, I'm going to call that stonewashed, I guess a stonewashed blade, but very cool. Kind of creates this two-tone sort of thing. I like it a lot. And what else? I think that's all there is to say about the blade. We can mention the pocket clip, which looks nearly identical to the one here on the Atmos, except for the fact that the Atmos has the hole in it. This one does not. Also, that's black, obviously. But this is going to be bead blasted, as opposed to, yeah, and whatever. Anyway, but this one also, it wraps down, just does a right angle and attaches to the butt of the handle, which means you should be able to unscrew that and flip it around to this side. Good luck doing that. I actually tried to unscrew it during the course of working on this knife, and I'll tell you why I was working on it. And I think they used some red Loctite on that because it does not want to come off. About destroyed my screwdriver. Whatever, but it's a perfect pocket clip otherwise. You can see there that it comes all the way down. It's just very, very deep. All you're going to have is a little bit of this. Maybe you'll be able to see a little bit of black in that screw there. We do have a lanyard hole, which is slightly, kind of angled around the edges. Not all the edges, but that's going to cut down on wear on your paracord or whatever it is that you decide to run through there, if you want to do that. Let's see, as far as the handle construction, I told you it was G10. I think that we have FRN on this back strap. It sure looks like it's molded. You can see that mold line going down the middle of it. So I'm going to say that's probably an FRN. But then, like I said, we have G10, and then I'm pretty sure that's carbon fiber, even though it wasn't called out in the specs on Blade HQ's website. That looks like carbon fiber to me. I'm going to say that's carbon fiber. Grooved. Look at those grooves they cut into it. Just for aesthetic purposes, I think it might have looked just as good without it. I don't mind them though. It's just going to get, dead skin cells and stuff stuck in it. So you're going to need to get your toothbrush out there, not the one you use for your teeth, but your knife cleaning toothbrush, and just kind of brush that out after extended carry. Yeah. And so as far as construction is concerned, you can see where the screws are and how it all goes together. It seems like it's going to be a tough enough knife to carry for an extended period of time. How long have I carried it since I got it? It's been a week, 2 weeks. I want to say about 2 weeks since I got this from Blade HQ. So yeah, I could have carried it a bit longer, but I really wanted to talk about this knife because I'm just excited about it. And I feel like it is going to hold up a long time. The D2 steel holds an edge for a good long time. The G10 and carbon fiber sub frame lock build on that is just it's gonna be fine. And again, the KVT ball bearing pivot is fantastic, and I'm gonna be a fan of that for the rest of my life. Okay, the bad. Let's talk about the one thing I absolutely didn't like about this knife. It took me a minute to kind of discover it, you know, kind of using it and so forth. And not cutting. All the cutting I've done has been great. And it's got a little bit of jimping there on top, as you see. It's got a nice feel to it. You know, it's definitely designed for you to keep your thumb up on top of that and kind of cut in this direction and that way. And that's fine. That's totally fine. But once you put it in your pocket and then you put your hand down into that pocket with the knife right there and you go like this along the side of the knife, you're going to be like, what the heck? Why did they not work on that? Let me show you. See this corner right here? See how it's got like a 45-degree angle to it? Yeah, it didn't before. Look at the opposite side. See the opposite side right over there? Yeah, that's a total right angle. Why did they do that? It was like that on this side too. And I tell you what, dude, you do not realize how sharp carbon fiber and G10 can feel against the side of your hand until you thrust your hand in your pocket full force, and then you're like, ah, what's in my pocket? Oh yeah, my knife, my new knife, that for some reason they didn't round off that one point that is actually kind of critical for good ergonomics. Now there's some other right angles, like right around here. It's a bit of a right angle. I don't mind it so much though. You can still use your knife in that spot and it's fine. Then up here, that's not quite a right angle. What am I looking at? Like right up here, it's almost a right angle, all this stuff, but it's okay. I mean, it works. But this bit right here at the bottom of the handle, inexcusable, guys. Come on, Kershaw, finish that off. Finish that off. Look, make it look like that at least. That's all you got to do. And then do that to the other side. And that's the reason I tried to take the pocket clip off, because I wanted to do that to both sides just to give it a proper finish. So how did I do that? And how would you do that? I would say don't use any, anything electric. Don't use like an electric sander of any kind. I don't know the effects of carbon fiber and G10 if you breathe it in. I feel like it's probably bad for you. So what I would say is this is what I did, in fact. I got some 150 grit sandpaper right here. You see this little stripe? That's me putting this at about a 45-degree angle and just going just like that a few times until I could see that that was about where I wanted it. Set that aside, got some 400 grit sandpaper, did the exact same thing, just a little bit of at a 45-degree angle until I had a nice smooth corner right there, which no longer scratches my hand when I put my hand in my pocket. So that's what you're going to need to do if you buy this knife. And it's a little bit of a disappointment, but I can live with it because it's such an easy fix and it's such a cool knife. I really like the tumbler here. Like it a lot. Let's compare it to a handful of other knives, kind of close to its price range and size category. By the way, the price on the Kershaw Tumbler is about $67.95 on Blade HQ's website. If you think that's worth it, you should go get one. Let's compare that to another Kershaw first, the Kershaw Dividend in M390. Kind of close in size. Blade is shorter for sure, but overall length is very close. And this M390 version is no longer available, but there are going to be other versions of the Dividend. This one was $85. There are other ones coming out. There's an N690, excuse me, and D2 sort of composite blade that is going to be about $80. So that's coming pretty soon. It's got this olive green handle with lots of detail in it and stuff. Pretty cool looking. And that's going to be very comparable to the tumbler here, which is $67.95. So $80, about a $12 difference, something like that. Another one, Civivi Elementum. This one in ebony. Can't get this one anymore. Sorry to show you guys knives. I just realized I got a couple others, or one other that you can't get anymore. Oh well, that's what I have on the table. Yeah, but the Civivi Elementum in ebony, not available currently, but there will be a rosewood version of it for about the same price that this was. And this was about $63.75, and the rosewood will be $63.75 coming soon. So this ebony out of stock, rosewood coming soon. What else? Here's a budget one. By comparison, it's budget. And this is the CRKT Caligo. Really cool knife. 8CR13 MOV steel. This is D2 if I didn't mention it. 8CR13 MOV. Did I say that was M390? I think I did. And, aluminum. And this guy goes for, it's pretty affordable. It's like, where is it? Oh, $39.95. And this one's totally in stock. So if you're looking for something cool for a more affordable price, about 40 bucks, that guy's totally in stock. It's a little pricey for what it is, 8CR13 MOV made in China, but you know what? The design is really cool. So, I mean, you can decide for yourself, but I kind of think it's worth it. Then lastly, here's the other one that you can't get anymore. But there are plenty of other versions of it, and that is the Spyderco Delica. This one in the Zome pattern. Yes, it is Zome, not Zome, okay? It's Zome. And the Zome pattern, green and yellow with S30V steel, and that's the reason this one's unique, can't get it anymore. But the standard VG10 version is plentiful. Unfortunately, it has kind of jumped in price. They're now about 85 bucks for the standard VG10. But that probably has to do with, I don't know, steel prices and whatnot, and just kind of inflation in general. I don't know. Can't speak authoritatively about all that stuff, but whatever the case, that has gone up in price. But these are definitely kind of comparable to this guy right here, the Kershaw Tumbler. And I don't know, which one would you pick? Obviously, I picked all of them, and that's generally the case when I show you these knives. But as just a good-looking knife that carries really well, did I mention the weight of it? No, I don't think I did. Let's go and show you the weight. Let's go to Weight Town and see what the weight is. 2.6 ounces for all that. 2.6 ounces for 3.5 inches of cutting edge, G10, carbon fiber, super deep carry pocket clip, that awesome sub-frame lock from Kershaw, and of course the KVT ball bearings. Fantastic knife. Great blade shape, tons of sweep, lots of cutting potential and ability. This is going to be an excellent EDC knife, very lightweight, and actually in a price range that I like a lot. Okay, I don't buy as many of the $25 to $30 knives anymore, or $40 sometimes I do, but when I see something that's in that sort of sweet spot of between 60 and 80, and it's really good quality, and it's just very, very cool, yeah, that's when I kind of get, my ears kind of perk up and I start looking at it a little more closely. And I think you should definitely take a close look at this, the Kershaw Tumbler. That's it for now, guys. I'm the Late Boy Scout. Thank you for watching, and I hope this little bit of knife escapism has been fun for you too. Stay safe out there. Y'all be good. I'm the Late Boy Scout. See ya.